of advice do you have to homeowners?
Practicing that preparedness. Starting the conversation now is always going to be a benefit to any association out there. And welcome to Recovery Report Live. I'm Dan Odess, President of GlobalPro, where we manage risk to recovery, and we have a heck of a show here for you today. I am joined by our very own Josh Bochner right here in the studio to talk about important issues that are impacting you as policyholders. And as the title reads, are insureds purposely underpaying? There are a lot of information out there and a lot of details about these issues that are growing, the growing issues in our industry that are plaguing policyholders and their recoveries. And I want to get right to this and start talking all about it because I think there are important issues. And Josh, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Dan. I'm excited to be here in studio with you.
So great opportunity to talk about these really important issues that are impacting our policyholders. And here at GlobalPro, we've managed more than $1 billion in that recovery. So we know what we're talking about. We are experts in coverage and insurance. And there are things that you need to be aware of as a policyholder, whether it's for your business or your community association. These things impact you. We see all the headlines about rising, disasters and premiums. But what about the rise of issues in claims? There's very little stories being told about those issues, and there is data and detail about it. So, Josh, take us through a couple of the highlights here, to set the stage. How many claims are we talking about? What types of claims are we talking about on a year-over-year basis? Why is this an important issue to our policyholders?
Sure. So, by way of background, a little industry information. About 1 in 20 insured homes has a claim each year, and 40 insured homes has a property damage claim that's related to wind or hail. So you can kind of see that there are a number of claims and homeowners that are filing claims with their insurers annually. Actually, about 1 in 50 insured homes has a property damage claim caused by water damage or freezing. That's probably one of the most common claims that insureds have in putting a claim in with their insurance companies.
Man, that is crazy. So you think about it, 1 in 20 insured homes has a claim each year. So if you don't think this information is important to you, then what are you paying for, right? Why are you paying twice for insurance? You're not only paying the premium, but then you're paying for the damages, and you need to educate yourself. You need to make sure that you don't find yourself in that situation, and that's what it's all about. There's legislative trends that are really leading to a lot of these issues, and more recently, in the last legislative session that we had in 2021, the insurance industry came out and touted this as a huge victory for policyholders. But there's things baked into these bills that even people that are selling services and products to the insurance industry to help expedite the claim process are calling out the insurance industry and say, hey, whoa, wait, time out. Josh, talk to us a little bit about what went on here in Florida.
Yeah, so the legislation was actually universally kind of considered watered down. It really didn't provide that much reform as people were expecting. One of the more interesting things in its Senate Bill 1598, which passed, actually elongated the time that the insurers have to begin investigating the claim. So initially, it was 10 days from the date that the date of loss is reported and the claim is opened that the insurers have to begin investigating these claims. It's actually now 14 days. So initially 10, now 14. And you would think that with the advent of InsurTech and implementing new technologies and claim processes with these insurance companies, it would actually minimize the time that it starts to start investigating these. But again, Senate Bill 1598 actually went from 10 days to 14 days for the insurer to begin their initial investigations of these claims.
Now, that's remarkable, right? So you have InsurTech, you have, literally billions of dollars being poured into technology that's supposed to help the process, whether it's from getting new insurance to dealing with the insurance claims. And there is a lot of chatter and talk about the adjusting process and how this InsurTech is going to help. But here you have the insurance companies actually lobbying for and winning and getting language inserted into bills that gives them more time to adjust the claim. It just seems counterintuitive to the interest of the policyholder and quite frankly, counterintuitive to the dollars that are being invested, or maybe those dollars are being invested to create these profit centers, which otherwise are the claim centers, which are reporting your claims, and making them more profitable, right? Because we don't have to look too far back in history, the McKinsey and the Allstate and the issues that were uncovered there, where it was said to deny claims, basically deny claims to make more money. And here you have, in this more recent, in modern history, in 2021, legislation that's extending the period to allow an insurance company to do something, even though people are selling, businesses are selling billion-dollar products that are supposed to help reduce the time period to adjust a claim. I just don't understand where this is all going, and there's just so much information out there about the need to expedite these things and the technologies available to these adjusters in the field to help them expedite the process. I mean, there's all this technology they're putting in insured's hands that allows them to report a claim. And then you see issues like with Lemonade and the claims process, and they were the golden child when it came to this online technology and this advent of the ability for a policyholder to go on, buy a product of insurance, and then slowly all the issues came out about their claims process and how they're using AI and the implementation of that stuff, and some comments that were made actually through their Twitter feed about what they were doing with that AI and how they were going to judge a policyholder reporting a claim using the AI. So it's interesting. We're seeing an extended period of time to adjust claims, but we have technology right there being funded in billions of dollars that's supposed to actually help the insurance process. So, there was a recent, it wasn't a recent paper, there was a paper that was published recently that Josh and I were looking at regarding the regulation of insurance claim practices by Jay Feynman, and it points out a couple of very interesting points, Josh, right?
So the focus was on the claims process, really, and frequently in the event of a loss, whether it's substantial or even a small water loss, the insureds really don't have the information that they need to adequately evaluate whether the insurer is processing their claim properly. It's what's considered an information inequality, right? The insurer, this big billion-dollar business, has all the information. Meanwhile, the insurer, the policyholder, really has nothing to be able to determine whether or not these insurers are processing their claims fairly, adequately, and also consistent with the rules and the regulations and the statutes that are passed by our state legislatures. One of the biggest complaints that policyholders have, and there's actually a report on it by Value Penguin, it states that 68% of policyholders have issues with their claims, most being the handling of the claim and low settlement offers or complete denials. 68%, Dan, of policyholders have issues with their insurers and the way that they're handling these claims. So the claims process is really a huge focus that needs to be addressed to see how we can better these insurers handling the claims from start to finish.
In investigating where that billions of dollars that I mentioned earlier is being invested, and looking at the rise of complaints and issues with these claim processes, an extended period of time for an insurance company to actually adjust a loss, I mean, it's all culminating into a bigger growing issue. This Value Penguin report was a more recent survey that was done. This isn't old information. This isn't from 2010 and before. No, this was just like modern history. Like this just happened.
I think in the last couple of years.
I mean, like these are issues that we're dealing with now. This legislation was just last year to extend this period of time. This Value Penguin report is from 2 years ago. Like there are huge issues, and also if you look at where those dollars are going in the insurtech, it's not in the consumer product, right? It's not on the consumer side of the process of dealing with claims or much to do with actually getting insurance or anything else. It's on the industry side, and that's fundamentally really where we think the issue is, and why GlobalPro is making a massive investment in insurtech right now to provide consumer-based software and to focus on assisting the consumer through that process. But also, it's a tool that the industry can also use. It's really meant to be Switzerland more so than the sword.
Right, and one would think that with, like you said, the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars that are being poured into technology, and in particular in the insurtech industry, you would expect to see the claims process more streamlined, right? A great example was in recently with the California wildfires, right? There was an issue with these claims being handed off between not only 1, 2, but 3 or 4 different claims handlers. And the state had to actually step in and state that if a claim in the event of a state of emergency, like you would have like a fire or a hurricane here in Florida, for example, but this was in California, that if the claim touches more than 2 handlers' hands in any 1 6-month period, it gets assigned to basically a supervisor or a manager to handle the claim and manage it from the get-go. So again, you would think that with the investment into insurtech and all of these hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars being poured in, you would expect to see the claims process more streamlined. But we're actually seeing the opposite. And the Value Penguin report, with close to 70% of policyholders complaining that their claims are being delayed, they're getting unfair settlement offers. It really is, it's a dichotomy, and we don't really understand why that is.
And I mean, there's also a study, which we have, which is called the Future of Claims Study Reports, shows that 76% of policyholders that have experienced a claim still talk to more than one person when dealing with a claim.
It's shocking.
How do you have consistency in a fluid process if you're talking to multiple people, having to re-explain and prove your damages, right? That's your obligation as a policyholder, prove your damages.
Right.
And you're having to do this over and over again. And it's actually, there's been there was part of that study was, has there been a decrease in the frequency of this issue where more than one people, and actually, no, it's the opposite.
Right.
There's been an increase in the amount of claims that are being handled by more than one person, or the fact that the claim got passed from one person to the next person, so much so that California, as noted by Josh, has stepped in here,
right,
and is like, instituted a law regarding these issues to try to curb this issue, but it really doesn't seem like it's really taken much of effect. And again, there's proof out there that with experience and knowledge, you're going to recover more money. But as a policyholder, what knowledge or experience do you have in dealing with things? Most often you have one claim and it may go 5-10 years before you have another claim. You don't have an abundance of experience like we do at GlobalPro, where we're insurance coverage experts. No, it's just like something that comes, you don't really ever plan for it as a homeowner. It hits you, or even a business owner, right? You want to operate your business, you want to operate your community association. That's your focus on operating your day-to-day, doing your thing, making money, or managing the association so the unit owners have a pleasant experience. You're not always just planning for the worst case scenario, and so you don't always practice these things. And if your claim is getting passed from one person to the next, there's lack of consistency. The dollars being poured in for investment on the insurtech side are really only going to the industry itself, and the consumer's really not seeing a lot of the interface or interaction with that software or those improvements. They're asking for longer periods of time. There's a rise in unsatisfactory claim settlements. These are unsatisfied policyholders with dealing with these things. It starts to beg the question as to to what end? Where are the advantages?
Well, it also helps to remember that these insurers are for-profit companies, right? They're either shareholder or stock companies. So at the end of the day, their biggest concern is profitability and being able to pass on profits to their shareholders. We have to remember, insurers are opportunistic, right? The less claim dollars they pay out, the more they keep in their pocket. And the longer they hold on to your premium dollars or money they owe you for your claim, they're actually using your money to invest and make more money. So insurers are opportunistic at their most basic level.
I mean, Josh, amazing point, and in something I think that a lot of policyholders, I say this all the time when I'm teaching continuing education classes to property managers, business owners on insurance issues, is that it's almost like the child-parent syndrome, and I'm just going to call it that. Where you really don't want to rebel against your parents, no matter how much you disagree with them. It really takes a lot to rebel against them, right? To walk out of the house and say, enough with this. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to do it differently than all my other peers. I'm going to look at these things objectively. I'm going to chart my own path forward. And it's really difficult. And there's millions of claims filed every year. Few are actually represented by anyone, whether it's a public adjuster or an attorney. It's of no surprise to us, but it may be to policyholders out there to learn these facts. And these are facts. By the way, everything that we're citing here, go ahead and try to dispute it. If anyone from the insurance industry is hearing this broadcast or looking at this and disagrees with the things that we're saying, these are industry reports that we pull this information from. This isn't something that we conjured up or created. These are things that you can find by simply Googling. We simply put it all together here in one broadcast to talk about it. And one of the other things that's going on right now is this huge class action lawsuit that was filed against Xactaware, which is one of the most popular, most widely used estimating softwares by insurance company and their adjusters. Now, what's going on there, Josh?
So the issue with the this class action suit is Xactimate or Xactaware, I guess, which would be the parent company, I guess. They were basically, the allegations are that they were using the wrong method for estimating these repairs, which in effect drove down what they were valuing the claims at. So there's a construction or build, and then there's like a reconstruction. We'll categorize them as that. I don't have the exact terminology, but a construction and a reconstruction. And they were using the construction methodology in the repairs for a claim when they should have been using the reconstruction of a home, like, or of a commercial property that suffered a loss. And it was found, or the allegations again are that in doing so, the insurance companies minimized the value of that claim and therefore the dollars that were paid to the policyholder under the claim.
Yeah, so you have the new construction, you have the reconstruction, right? So they have the opportunity to select either one. Right. I always struggle with the competency of a lot of these independent adjusters that go out to the projects. They have no experience in construction. They have no experience in law. They have very little experience in insurance to begin with. And really the only thing they're ever taught is through the training programs with the insurance companies. Now, you have a rise in complaints, unsatisfactory claim settlements. You have an extended period of time to actually do anything for the policyholders. You have proof that with representation, with someone with experience, with the representation of a public adjuster, you're going to recover 500 to 700% more. You have all of these things culminating. Now you have a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit, which is saying that these independent adjusters willfully selected, or at the direction of their superiors, willfully selected to use the new construction costs rather than the reconstruction costs, leading to huge discrepancies in the total valuation of those claims. Again, go out, read it for yourself. We've put this all together. We're going to make sure that all of this information and the links to all these reports is available to you in the description of both this video and others, as well as on our social media platforms. We want to make sure that you have the information you need as a business owner, or whether you're managing a community association or a board member. Hey, heck, I mean, this all applies to homeowners as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this isn't just high net worth individual issues. These are, in fact, I would say that this is probably a bigger issue for
the
people that
homeowner,
are not high net worth individuals, where dollars mean more, right? You want to make sure that you collect on what you pay for, whether you are high net worth or not. It doesn't matter. This is going to impact your pocket, and what you're being told or sold really isn't working right now.
Well, it goes to what you said. If you have the information going in, it benefits you tenfold on the long run. And that's why the Opaga report, for example, which stated that claimants, insured policyholders who are represented in their claims process can recover 500% more than if they weren't. Remember, there's an information inequality. The average insured policyholder will have one, maybe two claims in their lifetime. Maybe you know of someone who had one, a family member, a friend, a cousin, but you don't know what you don't know, and it does benefit you. There's statistics and reports to prove that it benefits the policyholder in their claim to have representation who knows what they're doing throughout the claims process.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, Josh, we're going to end it here.
Thanks for having me,
I think
Dan.
we've had an awesome discussion about really important things. We provided a lot of information in a very short amount of time, but that's what this is about. This is about just delivering the points and information that you need as a policyholder to make sure that your business continues to operate even in the worst times, whether that's after a major disaster, and that you have the information you need in order to properly and promptly recover. And that's what this is all about. And unfortunately, as we have highlighted here, there are trends that are not going in your direction as a policyholder, that are not favorable to you as a policyholder. And we are doing a lot here at GlobalPro to change that. We want to level a playing field every day, right? Not only through our white glove concierge services that we provide to thousands of policyholders, whether business owners, community associations, but we also want to deliver this information to actual homeowners. And we are working on some fantastic projects, some tech that we're going to be bringing to market to not only help the homeowner, but also help the industry as a whole. Because we're not just interested in just the insurance companies and bettering their processes. We want to make sure that everyone has access to information. And there's going to be a lot more opportunity to talk about that in a future broadcast. I want to leave it right there as a little kind of carrot hanging out there, kind of bring you back a little bit in our future broadcast. But again, Josh, thanks for coming on here today.
Thanks, Dan.
It's been an awesome opportunity to talk about some really important things that are impacting us as policyholders. Honestly, they're impacting the economy, because if the dollars aren't flowing back to policyholders after major disasters, we are all going to struggle to recover and rebuild. And as the economy and the market struggle right now, as we're headed towards a post-pandemic, hopefully we're on the everything's pointing in that direction. I hope it continues to trend in that direction. But as we head in that direction, we want to make sure that we don't get hit with something else, another surprise. So continue to tune in here to find out about all the new projects that GlobalPro is working on. So guys, it's an awesome broadcast. It's an awesome broadcast to talk about great, important information that is really relevant and important to you as business owners and community associations. So continue to tune in right here. We are celebrating 10 years here at GlobalPro, where we continue to manage claims for property owners, property managers, asset managers, business owners, so many different classes of individuals that need this information. So the best way to make sure that you have the information you can use, of course, hit the subscribe button, like us and follow us on all the social media platforms. That's what we do here every single week at 11 o'clock right here on the Recovery Report. And we'll see you right here at the same place, same time. Thanks for joining us, and thank you, Josh, again, for providing us all this important information that is impacting us as policyholders. And we'll see you next week right here, same place, same time.